Good day, happy travelers. Vacation travel hacks here. Today we're talking about the Norwegian Encore, leaving from Miami. If you're watching this, you are either on this ship and you're excited about where it's going, or you're thinking about being on this ship and possibly being excited about where it's going. Either way, we're going to talk about tips and tricks to get you from the airport to the ship, talk about potential free things that can be done at each of the stops, and we'll give you a quick overview of some of the paid options that are available at each stop. And, well, we wouldn't be vacation travel hacks if we didn't give you tips on how to get back to the airport. So let's get started. Well, you're boarding in the Port of Miami, one of the busiest. It was the busiest port of Port Canaveral took it over. So it's the second busiest port, but it's still quite busy. There's two pictures here. One is to show you how close the airport is. So you got Miami International Airport. This is a cruise port. As a crow flies, maybe 5 miles. Really close. It's about a 25-minute drive. The trick is not necessarily the distance to the airport. It's you getting to that airport that requires us to always say, we encourage you to fly in the day before. You can't control air traffic control shortages, staffing shortages at the airline, software issues at the airline, the weather, mechanical issues, pilot issues. And those are just the things I can think of that impacted me in the past year. So that's why we always say, hey, worst case scenario, you're in Miami a day early, and that's not doing too bad. But if you're like, whoa, listen, guy, I can't get there a day early. I'm going to fly in the day of. It's worked for me in the past. Good. It's just, yeah, sure. There's no wrong way to cruise. It's just I share best practices. And here's the zoomed in picture. Norwegian Cruise Line Terminal is B. Although my several times at this cruise port, they're like assigned, but they share. And meaning I came out of Terminal F one time, and I actually arrived at Terminal D. So if you're going to park in one of these parking garages, or somebody's picking you up, or just you may have to, when you're at the cruise port on the returning morning, you may have to give an update to your driver. Hey, I told you I was at B, well now I'm at F, and it's happened 2 times, so it's worth noting. One last thought. While Miami is certainly closer, it's been my experience to the tune of about $200 per person, that Fort Lauderdale airport is it can be cheaper at times, and certainly that's my experience for Delta. Fort Lauderdale is about $250 per person cheaper. If you got 4, that's a savings of $1,000. Hotels, they're comparable in terms of cost up there. Now you might be wondering, okay, well, how am I going to get to the cruise terminal now? For us, we used SAS Transportation. It came highly recommended in the Facebook group that I'm a part of, and it was it was about $80 it was about $80 for all 8 of us to head down. Check out SAS Transportation, or you could do it Uber, taxi, or Lyft. Or if you Google Fort Lauderdale Transportation, there's a lot of private like limo companies that'll get you down there too. In terms of staying down by the Port of Miami, most of the hotels here do offer a shuttle. It used to be complimentary for many of them. It is now not complimentary. It's a pay for. It's not the worst price in the world. I think it was like $15 a person for one of the Marriott properties just south of the airport. And if you stay a little closer to South Beach, it can be complimentary. Just call for the details. It varies. It's by the hotel. So, but hey, ta-da! We got you to the cruise ship. You're on the cruise ship. Let's see where you're going. One of the first stops, or a stop, depending upon how they shake up the itinerary. You're heading to the DR, Puerto Plata. And cruise terminal is right down in the port. So we always like to say, hey, what can I do for free? There, you're right in the heart of the city. You can walk off the boat. You can shop. You can go take pictures at this place. So if you want to just see some sights, there's an awful lot of sights to see. If you want to do some excursions, well, you got that covered too. Puerto Plata is part of they're really close to Ocean World, which is one of our favorite stops. We spent so much time with the dolphins and the sea lions and the sharks, as opposed to some other places where it's maybe a total of 2 minutes touching time. This time we got about 15-20 minutes. So there's a famous waterfall there. They got zip lining, they got buggies. It's really, what do you want to do as you're watching this? And there's everything that's here is handpicked to be fun, to match what you want to do, experience something new, hang out with the bird sanctuary. Uh, that is a wonderful experience, especially if you like birds. If you're terrified of birds, well, that would not be super fun. You want to hang out at the beach, you want to drive old cars. Here's the dolphin encounter, and I'm telling you, make like 6 passes, and the picture package was only $80. Waterfall and zip. You want to go to a different resort, all inclusive. You want to go tour the city and then do the beach escape. This is what my parents did. They really enjoyed that. So if you like to go to the city and kind of get immersed in the culture, yeah, you can absolutely do that, and it's a lot of fun. So that's some of the options that are available. And as I say, there's no wrong way to cruise. Your next stop is the British Virgin Islands of Tortola. The cruise port is right here. So in terms of free things to do, hey, can I get out and immerse myself into the city, walk around, get good pictures? Yeah, you sure can. And the snorkeling here is fantastic. The island tour is fantastic. It's I'm a big fan of cruising. It's come into my life a little later than I wanted it to, but it's really cool. So here you get the best of the beach and the island. They'll give you a tour around, let you take some pictures, some selfies for the gram, if you will. Then beaches. Then you got sailor. My dad doesn't like going in the water because he was in the Navy, so he prefers to be in the city, and I respect that. You want to go snorkeling? The sea turtles, it's a thing, and they're there, and they're really big, and they swim really fast. It's really cool. Drive around in a Jeep. Here's snorkeling at a different part of the island. In fact, I bet if you've come here probably 7 times and you pick snorkeling each time, you're probably not going to have to pick the same one twice. Hey, let's take a selfie. There you go. And she's not taking a selfie. She's just looking across the bay there. You want to relax, and then you can discover, the island. So that's one of your stops. That's really fun. St. Thomas. Now, in terms of free, I'll tell you what's free, and then I'll tell you that unlike the other stops, it may be worth your time to at least invest in a taxi. So you're going to park here, and there's free shopping, lots of gift shops here, 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 and here, and then this row is all gift shops too. And if you do a snorkeling, you're going to walk. It was a pretty healthy walk. So if you're concerned about walking, maybe you're doing this instead of Disney World because of you like to not walk yourself into the ground. There you go. Boom. And there's a snorkeling area. We went snorkeling here. Sea turtles. I mean, the water is if you've never done one of these before, the water is everything you think it would be based on a postcard. The city's up here, and that's a pretty good haul to get up there. Not impossible. It's certainly not unwalkable. It's just I would probably encourage to invest in some sort of transportation or take an excursion. And here are some of the excursions that are available. You better believe that snorkeling is on the list, and it's right at the top. You can catamaran sail and snorkel. You can go to a jet shipwreck sail and snorkel. There's more turtles. Turtles like this part. Then you got sky ride up here, and then you can take a picture of this. I mean, and you do that as a selfie, man. Can you imagine? Go to a different beach. Go snorkeling twice. Go to St. John. Or what do you want to do? I mean, there's lots of snorkeling, and then there's a skylift. I'll go one more page because I just want to make sure you get the city. And then there's an ocean park, panoramic views and shopping. There you go. You can go shopping and take pictures. So if you don't ever want to set foot in the water, you certainly don't have to. Oh, there we go. Ta-da, selfie. Just go around taking pictures. Memorable. That way you can tell people you were there. They wouldn't believe you. Like that one time I met Shaq in Atlanta. I didn't take a selfie, though. Nobody believes me. I don't understand. All right. Then their private island, Great Stirrup Cay. This is, I mean, this is all about just kind of relaxing. Can you spend money here? You don't have to relax, but you can certainly not relax if that's not what you want. Zip lining isn't super relaxing, but it's super fun. I always enjoy zip lining now. And you got a couple different zip lines. There's 3. Want to rent a jet ski for a little bit? 1.5 hours of jet ski, that's $140. That's not too shabby. You're swimming with pigs. I want in the Bahamas. I'll have the chance to do this. I'm just not sure they want to be there with me, and frankly, I don't know if I want to be there with them. Cabanas. If you're a cabana person, a pro tip from me to you: they seem to go first. They're obviously they're very limited in supply, and it really depends on how many other ships are in port. But they go fast. So if this is important to you, don't delay because other people aren't, and they get them. All right. So that's a great Stirrup Cay there. Final tips and thoughts. So, hey, if you have the ability, so the one thing that is not flexible in a ship, obviously the time that it leaves port, but also the show times. The show times are very fixed. So, if shows are important to you, and you got late or early dining, sometimes the shows interact with the dining times. So try to have anytime dining if the shows are important to you. Try to be flexible there. There was a couple shows we missed out, so I don't like doing that. We already talked about flying in the day before. Miami and Fort Lauderdale, opportunity to save money, and that's always good. It's nice to have 2 airports there. Most hotels have shuttles to the port. Just call it check. In terms of leaving, hey, what time should I book a flight? You saw how close Miami was. In all of these things that I do, I always recommend 12 p.m. You could probably get away with a little earlier. I've seen people talk about how they left at 10. Okay. 11. I know it's doable, and it's highly likely to succeed as opposed to Port Canaveral or Galveston or Seattle. You're probably going to succeed at this airport if that's important to you. But what's important to me is not stressing out on my day of leaving the cruise ship, not being worried about being in a line or the shuttle being delayed or any of that. So I always said, worst case scenario, I say leave afternoon and you're at the airport enjoying a coffee, unwinding from a very cool trip. And if the kids club is important to you, day 1 is a good idea to get them in. We missed day one time, and day 2 was kind of like going to a different school in the middle of the school year. So, hey, Norwegian Encore, this is a fantastic itinerary, great stops, and lots of chances to take a selfie. So I hope you enjoy your trip. Feel free to leave questions in the comments if you have any. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.